What's up guys, this is Dark Magician here and welcome to another KOF video. So guys, as you know, after the latest update we got two bosses for this month, which are of course Rising Dragon Kensu, where we got him at the beginning of the month, and now we do have RobertXI, which will appear in, Father's Day special chest. So here he should be easy to get because pretty much we are let's say saving coins for him so that we can exchange for his fragments, and maybe we get to buy his packs or anything, but until then we don't really have any idea how the event will be exactly. But anyway, today's character introduction will be for RobertXI. Okay guys, so as you can see, RobertXI is an API 15 gank, typical stats of the gank, of course, medium stats as usual, and the feature stats place a bounty on the target and concentrated combo. Now here, because he focuses on one target, just to attack him and do damage for him, and concentrated combo because he keeps, even with his minor skill and his ultimate, he just keeps targeting the same target. So of course we're gonna see that in the team. And the feature also says a Kyokugen Ryo because of course he's a member of the Kyokugen Ryo family, let's say one genre of karate, which is created by Takuma. Of course we have Ryo, Robert, Yuri, Takuma, Robert 2002, New Mr. Karate, and Tengo, of course. So now starting with the fates, first fate we have the mightiest target. We need RobertXI, Robert, and Robert 2002, increasing attack plus 25%. We have of course the Kyokugen Ryo team. We need RobertXI, Mr. Karate, New Mr. Karate, and Yuri, increasing again attack plus 25%. And rich second generation, we need RobertXI, Benimaru, and Hinako, increasing HP by 25%. So actually his fates are pretty easy, although we do have an API 15, but at this stage Mr. Karate isn't really hard to get. So that's why his fates can be really unlocked fast, and there shouldn't be a problem with his fates. Now of course his weapon is the KOF Bank Black Card, and he uses Dazzling Badge and Kickboxing Tone. Now moving to the fight soul, he has a snake fight soul. It's actually called a rich viper soul. So what does this fight soul mean? He restores 40 extra rage when attacking and restore a large amount of rage when an ally or enemy dies. So of course it's a characteristic of a snake soul and a tiger soul combined in one. Now starting with his skills, so first his passive bounty combo. So as we've mentioned, he places a bounty on the target. So what does this mean? So when each round starts, a random enemy except Yuri will be marked as a bounty target. So of course I don't know if you've seen the bounty target already, or like the bounty mark, but it's like his picture with swords on it. Of course I'm gonna just upload it here. So you can see this is what a bounty target is like. So of course if there is a bounty target, there will be no mark. So here the mark will exist until the bounty target dies. When the bounty target dies, RobertXI ultimate resistance and small skill resistance rate will be increased permanently by 15%, but although it can be dispelled. So when he kills the bounty target, or well, not necessarily him, but if the bounty target dies, he will increase his 15% ultimate resistance and small skill resistance, but sadly it can be dispelled. Now when a bounty target is attacked by anybody, an extra 30 rage will be restored to the fighter who attacks him, and when a bounty target dies, 100 rage will be immediately restored to all ally fighters, and extra 100 rage will be restored to RobertXI and the fighter who kills this bounty target. So actually Robert, in a way, he can, let's say, help allies gain rage faster. In a way, it's not really that much. I mean, 30 rage isn't really much, but still it's a way for the opponents to gain, for the allies, sorry, to gain rage. And when RobertXI attacks a bounty target, he will gain the concentrated combo effect. Okay, so the concentrated combo effect will be superimposed such that he will increase his attack by 10%, and it can stack up to 4 levels or 4 times, so he can stack up to 40% attack when he makes, of course, the concentrated combo. When the bounty target dies, the concentrated combo effect will be interrupted and the count will be reset. So let's say he stacked up to 3 times, I don't know how much, let's say 30% attack. So when this bounty target dies, then of course he will just make another bounty target, so he will mark another opponent, and this count level will be reset to 0 so that he can start stacking them up again. Now here, when RobertXI HP drops below 60%, debuff will be immediately cleared, so he will clear debuff, and 20% HP will be restored. Of course, we've seen this somehow with many fighters like Ash, like Leona, like Kensu for example. So here, when his HP drops below 60%, he will increase 20% again, which takes up effect twice. So he can do this buff twice. And when the bounty target dies, the chance of the effect will be reset. So when this bounty target dies, he will, let's say, gain other 2 chances in order to restore 20% HP. So this is actually pretty good, because usually the bounty target, because he will, let's say, Robert will be concentrated on that bounty target, and not only Robert, of course he will receive damage from other people. So yeah, when that fighter dies, he will just gain the effect again up to 2 times. Now here finally, when there is a bounty target, Robert's defense increases by 30%. So usually whenever the bounty target is still alive, Robert will have an increase of 30% defense and will be immune to stuns. Otherwise, Robert's attack and defense will be increased for 15%. So let's say in this round, the bounty target dies. So instead of having 30% defense, he will get 15% attack and defense instead. And Robert will release a small skill for the first round for sure. And of course, lastly, the interference skill, the skill that we have seen in many other fighters, reduce all the enemy's attack, which is a must-have skill in every team. It's of course not stackable with any interference skill. Interference skill does not take effect when the fighter is deployed as an aide, so the fighter of course should be in the main team in order to take place. So of course at level 1 he decreases all enemies' attack by 15%. So yeah, that was his passive. Now his minor skill, Phantom Leg, attack a single enemy. Of course the priority will go to the bounty target first, so he will specifically attack the bounty target. Now here we have 2 terms which are bounty hunt and bounty reward. Now here the bounty hunt means a debuff, so he will make this debuff on the target, while the bounty reward is the buff that he will take from the target. Just because it's gonna be mentioned again. So the bounty hunt, he will permanently reduce the crit and the crit power of the bounty target by 20%, although it can be dispelled. And the bounty reward steal the target's small skill resistance by 20% for 2 rounds. Now here, if the target is an API 14, he will restore his own max HP by 10%. However, if the target is an API 15, he will restore his max HP by 15%. So that's the difference. Now usually we will see most teams having API 15s and not API 14s. So this will be good for him. Restore own max HP, as we said, by 15%, and reduce the target's attack, defense, and the speed of rage restoration by 20%. So this is actually another debuff that he will make from his minor skill. And when attacking the bounty target, if the HP is less than 50%, restore 100 rage and gain 80% control free for 1 round. So most of the times you won't see him getting control, because 80% control free is a lot. So yeah, that was simply his minor skill. Now finally his ultimate, Haoshokoken, attack a single enemy. Of course, again as usual, attack the bounty target first. High bounty hunt, again the buff that he will take. The debuff that he will make on the target. Reduce damage, ultimate damage, control, and HP drain of the bounty target by 20% for 2 rounds, and increase damage, resistance, and HP drain by 20% for himself, of course. And finally, on the other one, the high bounty reward, steal the target's ultimate resistance by 15% for 2 rounds. So again, if the target was an API 14, he will restore his max HP by 15%. However, if the target was an API 15, he will restore his own max HP by 25%. So you can see Robert does have good means of regaining HP back. So due to the passive, due to the minor skill, and due to the ultimate as well. And he will deal an extra damage to tank fighters by 25%, which is good. Increase the crit of all tank fighters in Robert 11's column by 20%. So here, if he had any tanks present in his column, then he can actually increase their crit by 20%. That's actually one reason why you might want to put Robert at the front row. Although it's not really a big buff, to be honest, but it's simply a buff that you can make good use of. And release small skill in this round. So the small skill is guaranteed for this round. And for the next 2 rounds, reduce damage allied DPS fighters taken from the tank fighters by 10%. So the DPS fighters will receive less damage worth 10% from opponents' tank fighters. Reduce damage allied gank fighters taken from DPS by 10%. and reduce all allied tank fighters taking from the gang fighters by 10%. I think we've seen this bug in the melee neighborhood. It's kind of the same thing. And here the effect will not be dispelled or stolen. So here in a way he can help the other allies, whether they were DPS or tank or gang. They will receive less damage from their opponents. It's 10%, but it's kind of nice. The effect will be improved in all-round way. The extra damage will be dealt to the bounty target, so he will deal more damage to the poor bounty target, because he's always being targeted by him. So yeah guys, that was his skill set as you've seen. Now his gate partners of course are Yuri, Takuma, and new Mr. Karate, so pretty easy gate partners. They are not hard to work on. Now here the question is RobertXI a good fighter or not? Now his skill set is nice and is new, but to be honest we have to remember because that we are in an advanced stage of the game, and to be honest here guys, at this stage of the game his skill set isn't really special. I mean it's good, but other fighters just outcome him easily. So I think this is the first time that I actually won't recommend RobertXI in any team. Now exception to be made here if you're using a karate based team. I mean there isn't such thing as a karate team by itself, but some people do love the Kyokugen Ryu teams. For example, if they're using Tengu, if they're using the Karate Bros together, and if they're gonna use Mr. Karate 2 in the future, then yeah, actually RobertXI could be a nice addition to the team. But other than that guys, he's not really recommended in any other team because his skill set doesn't really compete as other ones. So yeah, this is actually the first time I don't recommend a fighter to get. Now, regardless if you have interest in him, then it's totally fine. But should you place him at the front or at the back? Now here actually I do prefer him at the back because he's more oriented to make damage more than being defensive. So if you can put him at the back, I would prefer that more. Although if you did put him at the front, he can, let's say, I mean he can regain HP in many ways, and he can boost the tank fighters as we've seen. So you can put him anyway, although the back row is definitely better for him. This is it. In which team does he perform? That's again not really a requirement for any team guys. I don't really recommend him in any specific team except the karate teams that I've mentioned before. Now finally going through his runes. So which runes can be good for him? Of course it's kind of conditional here because he's a gang. Now here if he was at the back row, which is something that I do prefer seeing, you should use Dragon Tiger on him because you don't really rely on any other rune set to make damage more than Dragon Tiger, because he makes an ultimate on round 2 and you gotta boost his base attack in this case. So Dragon Tiger if he was at the back, and if he was at the front you can just use Earth's Heart or Heart of Thorns as usual, because these are the best ones for non-tank fighters. Let's say even for tanks Heart of Thorns can be good, but in this case for Robert, if he was at the front, again Heart of Thorns or Earth's Heart. Okay, simply those were his recommended runes. And finally, which 5th Fight Soul can work good on him? Here, to be honest, from all the set of Fight Souls that we have here, there isn't any one that is specifically good for Robert. I would say Blood Thorns if he was at the front, only if he was at the front. So because simply he can help because it's used for DPSs and ganks, and if you're gonna use him at the front, then this is the best one for him. Other than that, you can just give him any 5th Fight Soul that can make debuffs on the opponents, because there isn't anyone up to this moment that can give him some good buffs for himself. So yeah guys, I think that was it regarding RobertXI's skill set and all what you need to know about him. So let me know guys, what do you think of the event? Now just needed to mention one thing, which is he might be easy to get. I mean they didn't put him in a limited draw, so I don't know how the event will be, but we should be able to get him for, let's say, cheaper than other bosses. So this is actually one good thing that came out of him. If you're a new player maybe and you want to build up your power fast, then definitely he's one of the fighters you can consider. So yeah guys, that was it. Just good luck if you're going for him, and let me know your comments and what do you think about him. And I'll see you guys in the next video. Peace out.